Okay, so yeah, so for this session, like this is just an introduction to you know digital marketing, content writing fundamentals, and is like I said, this is an excerpt, right? The first session of a series of session for the Equity Mentorship Program. It's a program organized by a non-profit organization where they hope to ensure that people, newbies in tech, people who are trying to like navigate their career, they get like hands-on mentorship. Beginners in tech are connected with industry professionals to help guide them along their journey. So this is the first of many sessions that we'll be having. And like I said, I thought to make this public because I feel like there are other people who could as well benefit from it. So the objective of the session basically for this topic on introduction to digital marketing and content writing fundamentals would be to understand the basics of digital marketing and content writing, learn how to structure blog posts, social media content effectively, and of course, get hands-on experience with essential content creation tools. As much as might not be able to cover the entire objective with this one session, but I do believe you will be able to, get to some extent. So, but the first thing I want to talk about is, and this session, I hope it would be really interactive. So I really implore us, like I love the energy so far from our introduction. So I'd really implore us to try to be as interactive as much as possible because I do have some prompts. Unfortunately, I'm having like a challenge with having my slides up, so I'm just going to like speak through it. But yeah, I do have some prompts that would need to actively engage in as the session, proceeds along. So the first thing I want to talk about is understanding digital marketing and content writing. Now, first of all, what is digital marketing, right? Marketing digitally, right? It just very in simple terms, it just has to do with marketing a product, a service, or whatever digitally using digital channels like social media, search engines, emails, websites, and all of that. Now, why is this important? It's important because it helps you to reach a global audience as opposed to, traditional marketing, where, people would leverage things like the TV, radios, maybe billboards and, papers and publications and things like that. Um, Digital marketing is something that would help you to reach a global audience beyond your locality, beyond what you would originally reach with traditional marketing or traditional media. Again, it is also like cost effective, right, as compared to traditional marketing. If let's say for the part of the world where I'm at, for you to like book a, let's say, a time on the TV or a radio to like you want to have like do like some sort of marketing campaign with TV or radio, it costs so much as opposed to like actively promoting, building like a social media profile and actively promoting your work there, or even leveraging things like influencers and all. I mean, depending on the influencer and what your outcomes are from the marketing campaign, the price could vary. But of course, you would agree with me that digital marketing can be cost effective compared to like traditional marketing media. Again, you would also be able to get you know measurable results and insights, because at the end of the day, while you're running your marketing campaigns, you want to ensure that there are noticeable results, measurable results, there are insights, there are things you can track. You want to know how your um you know marketing campaign is performing, how your content is doing. Is it leading back to your website, your product? Are people like buying more into your services and all of those things? And you may not be um it may not be, may not be able to get like very good metrics with traditional media, right? But with the digital marketing platforms, you can always get like measurable results and insights from there. So these are just like some of the benefits. If you're asking, oh, why do I even have to why is the digital marketing, you know, efforts important? Why should someone actually consider digital marketing rather than the traditional marketing? These are just, you know, some of the reasons to keep in mind. um Again, what are some like key digital marketing channels? We have things like, you know, the search engine optimization, right? SEO. It's just has to do with you, where you're improving like a website visibility on search engines, right? There's a lot of like detailed, you know, maybe a more detailed explanation as to what SEO entails, but just keeping it simple for now, having in mind that this is an introductory class or introductory session. So give me a second. Yeah, we also have so on that, like some key digital marketing channels that you need to take note of, we also have like content marketing, right? Content marketing has to do with, again, like the words put together, marketing content, right? Creating valuable content to basically attract and engage an audience. So you're marketing your product, your service with valuable content, right? We also have social media marketing. Social media marketing, of course, which is a bucket under digital marketing, involves using platforms like, you know, Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and whatnot to, you know, market brands, right? You create a, even like our own personal social media pages is also our brand. Like your social media page is your brand. For example, as a designer, you could have your Instagram where you post up your designs, you know, you just showcase, use that as a mini portfolio for yourself, as well as maybe someone who is a content writer who likes to maybe write articles on LinkedIn, or they put out maybe some exhaustive posts on LinkedIn and on X and all that, right? It's a way to market your brand, whether it's a personal brand or, you know, a professional brand. So there's that. Another key digital marketing channel to take note of is email marketing, right? Sending like promotional messages, newsletters via email is also another bucket that most people would leverage, whether on the personal front or on as a brand, right? People have personal newsletters where they just, you know, they like to write, they like to put out stuff, create a community, and then they do that. For brands who are actively using like email marketing to promote their products and services. There's also like the pay per click advertising, another key digital marketing channel, where where you can, you know, it just entails, you know, you running paid ads on platforms like, you know, Google, Facebook, and all that. So these are some examples of the key digital marketing channels that we have. I mean, there are a couple of others, but these are some major ones that I want to focus on. So like search engine optimization, SEO, content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, and PPC, that's pay per click advertising. Now, um, getting when you now look at, so that's like the digital marketing bit, like a broad, high level overview of what digital marketing would mean and what it would entail. Now, where we would go deeper or further, it's like going into like the nuances of these various digital marketing channels, right? How can you properly leverage or utilize like SEO? How can you, like, you know, up your content game, or like, I mean, everybody can write, but not everybody is a content writer. Because I mean, so far you can put up a bunch of words together, form like a meaningful sentence. You've written down something, right? But then having content writing as a skill, content marketing, right? Having to be able to spur someone on to take an action with your content, right, is a skill on its own. Same thing with social media and emails and advertising and all of that. So going further into these various channels and how they work, or how you can actively leverage them, is something that we would look into much later. But then when it comes to like content writing, now this is where we're going to have our first activity. So I just want you to take like um I don't know, is 5 minutes too much? Let's say 2 minutes, right? So this is the prompt. If you had to explain content writing to a 5-year-old, right, how would you describe it in one sentence, right? I mean, you're explaining it to a 5-year-old, so you're basically keeping it simple. So yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. If you're explaining content writing to 5-year-old, so a 5-year-old, how would you describe it? So we can just take like 2 minutes to think through it, and then um, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Hi Claudia, would you like to share what you how would you do that, right? You're explaining like content writing to a 5-year-old. What would that sound like?
Okay, so wrote content writing is using words to share ideas or teach people something new and useful in a fun way.
Amazing, amazing. I'm pretty sure that 5-year-old would would get it right. So yeah, that's great. Unfortunately, I see that Aga just left, so hopefully she joins back in. Yeah, so I mean, I would also say something similar if I were to explain, to a 5-year-old as well. But broadly, of course, content writing involves, creating written materials. Just explaining it broadly now. It involves creating written materials for like digital platforms, including, blogs, social media, website content, and a whole lot more, right? Content writing, of course, is a skill that needs to be honed, a skill that needs to be learned and, you know, um, like say mastered to at some point, right? And of course, content writing is an aspect, a skill that cannot be, let's say, separated from digital marketing, because it plays like a crucial role. Because for most of your digital marketing efforts, you will basically be writing content. Like if you're looking at leveraging SEO, for example, you need to know how to improve like your website's visibility on the search engines. You need to be able to optimize the content here. You need to be able to, optimize like the headers, meta descriptions, meta titles, um, you know, and various other things aside like the technical aspects. Content plays a key role in your digital marketing efforts. Same thing with like when it comes to content marketing, social media marketing, um, um, writing out your captions and things like that, email marketing, sending out your newsletters, everything around digital marketing, majority has to do with your content, right? So it's very, very important. It plays a crucial role in digital marketing by attracting, by educating, and by engaging this audience that you're trying to target with your digital marketing efforts. Now, what are some of the core skills of a content writer? Now, as a content writer, you need to um, have good research skills, right? You need to have great research skills because um, if you're I mean, most people make this statement, right? You shouldn't reinvent the wheel, right? The wheel is there for you, something like that. As much as the wheel is there, you still like you want to be able to most times, even as content creators, as content writers, you want to put out something, you want to put out content. As much as maybe you might maybe categorize yourself as someone who is naturally creative, but at the same time sometimes you even need to see other people's work, to see how they have approached similar situations, similar content, to kind of spark that creativity and innovation in you. So you need to be able to um research actively, and even beyond that you want to understand what your audience needs, right? People say that, oh, before you write a blog, before you maybe um do some sort of digital marketing efforts, you should have like a persona that you're working with. And having a persona is important because you want to know what your audience wants. You want to know their needs, rather. You want to know what they are looking forward to, because with content writing you are basically solving a problem, right? You're trying to meet your audience needs by providing a solution with your writing, right? So you need to be able to understand what your audience needs, and you can only do that with adequate research. You also want to be able to gather credible information, because in as much as we keep learning, we keep improving. But how do you learn? You learn by consuming materials, by going through other people's work and all that. So if you're not actively researching, there's no way you'll be learning, and there's no way you would have like credible information to share. So this is why having good research skills is important as a content writer. Another thing that you also want to keep in mind as a core skill that you should have is just around your creativity, right? For you to be a writer, you need to be able to draw inspiration from somewhere. You need to be creative to a high extent. I mean, now that we have so much um, AI tools out there, you can basically feed a prompt into ChatGPT, into some AI tool, and you get yourself a blog post, right? But it takes a good writer. It takes someone who is actually creative to be able to find maybe like the loopholes in such AI generated content, to be able to refine it and make it even more presentable to for human consumption. Because I mean, as much as AI tools is here to help us, here to make our workflow a lot easier, it's not here to like just outrightly do the job for us, like think through everything for us. So you still need to embody some good level of creativity to be able to just craft those engaging and compelling stories that you need to put out to your audience. Another thing is your SEO knowledge. You don't just want to write a blog that you would write and then you have just a few readers, just you and a couple of friends that maybe you've shared the link to the content with directly. you want to write a content that basically ranks on social on the search engines. And as much as search SEO is a whole topic on its own, it has like various nuances to it. It can get technical at some point, but then again, you want to be writing actively with that mindset that, oh, you're writing for this content to rank, you're writing for it to be found by the people who need to find them. So you need to be able to build on your SEO knowledge, because that's the only way you'll be able to do that as a content writer. Another thing, core skill of a content writer that you need to have is editing and proofreading, right? For someone to call themselves a content writer, you should also be able to edit to a good extent. Some people will tell you that, oh, once they write a piece of content, they like to they like to sleep on it, or they like to engage in some activity, take walks, or just do something that would help them zone out. Some people will tell you also that they write a content and then they visit it again after like 2 days or a few days or like a week or thereabouts, just so that it's like they're coming to look at that piece of content with a fresh eyes that would help them to be able to maybe pinpoint errors or highlight even like typographical errors, as much as we have tools that can assist with that. But there are sometimes that just framing things in a language that is peculiar to maybe the region you're writing for, the audience, like could go a long way in helping that content, that piece of writing to stand out. Because it's not just enough to have like, how do I put it, it's not just enough to have your idea set out and you know that, oh, I want to write about this subject. You're actively writing for an audience, and if that audience are not following through, if you're not able to captivate their attention, then you have basically not achieved um anything, right? So you want to ensure clarity, you want to ensure grammar accuracy, you want to ensure readability, and that's why you need to be able to actively develop the skill around editing and proofreading. Yeah, so I'm just going to share a link now. Let me see if I can. This is another activity. I want to see if you're able to. Give me a second.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, yes.
Um, can you talk a bit about your process? How you, for example, ideate on your texts? I don't know. Do you have any methods specifically, or you just sit down and write? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So mostly when I work, if I do get like a brief from a client, right? So sometimes I take on like freelancing opportunities, or sometimes or let's say I'm working actively, like when I had like active content writing roles. Currently I work as a community manager, where I have to like as well manage content, but I'm not actively writing content in my job currently. But yeah, so let's say I get a brief from a client or like at work, and I'm supposed to write about a particular topic. First of all, I need to understand what I'm trying to so this is the process I take. I need to understand what exactly I am writing about, right? I need to know, like, if I've gotten a brief, then I need to know what that brief is about. And most times, if you get a brief from a client, the brief will most likely contain, the topic, how many words or the range of words that are expected, what they are trying to achieve with the um, content writing, maybe to sell a content, to sell a product, to advertise, or just something like that. So it would basically, the brief would most likely highlight, what funnel or bucket of the content marketing funnel it's on that, right? Top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and things like that. You would also see like And then that's where all of this basic information can now inform your like SEO processes, like keyword research and all of that. So my process is to first of all understand this brief. After understanding it, I try to like do like a rough sketch of persona. Yeah, most times I draft it out, like, who are this target audience for this content. People between maybe a specific age range, like, um Gen Zs, for example, or teenagers, or millennials and things like that. I try to like map out an active um persona for this content that I'm writing. So once I have all of this basic information set out, I get right into my research process. And I'm researching the topic. I'm trying to see what is already out there, right? What some people have written around that space, because you want to be able to ensure that, because there are tons of content right are out there today, right? Whatever, I can assure you that, or I can almost assure you that whatever it is you think about writing today has already been published by someone else at some point. So you want to ensure that your content basically stands out, right? It is different, it is unique, it embodies your own voice, different from what's out there. So yeah, the second step I take after having like a basic understanding of what I'm supposed to do is to get into the research. I Google the topic, um, various places, check on Google, check on social media, go on Reddit, on Quora, and just do a deep dive into that topic to see what's out there. And also while I'm researching, I'm also researching in line with my persona, with who I'm targeting with that audience. So while I research, I take down notes. Um I take down notes actively. I try to, while I'm researching as well, I also try to build out my outline, because having an outline is something that basically guides you through the entire writing process. And if you're able to do like your research well, if you're able to draft out a great outline, then your work is almost like 50% or more done, because if you have all your research together, put together, you have like your reference articles, you have what's it called, like various resources that you're going to be using to put your own content together, then when you start writing, it's just going to flow. Because I feel like what causes writer's block for a lot of writers is, you start a process and then you get stuck in between, or you're not even just having like that creativity, maybe because of other reasons. But the fact that someone will start maybe a content and they cannot finish is because they have not done like a great job in researching, or drafting out a proper outline. So I kind of research and outline hand in hand. And once I have all of that together, my resources, reference materials, and all of that, then I get right into the writing phase. Now while I'm writing and keeping um everything, I've the information from the brief, I'm having that on my mind, right? What am I writing for? What's like maybe the roughly, if I have like a target word counts to meet. I'm also keeping in mind as well, if I'm also implementing like um SEO as well in the content. So maybe there are keywords that I'm working with, or yeah, if there are keywords that I'm working with, I'm also thinking about how I'm infusing those naturally into the content, right, while I'm writing, because you don't just want your content to look like, oh, it's strictly SEO focused, right? You're not writing for, excuse me, you're not writing for human beings, but for like the robots, for the search engines and all. So you want it, your as much as you're trying to optimize your content for SEO, you want it to look as natural as possible. So I get right into the writing process. I just write, and write from following out the outline that I've drafted out. And once I've done, I would do like a first check for errors, mostly looking out for typographical errors, because maybe some words that I have not spelled correctly and things like that. that's just what I'm looking for in the after writing. I read through it, maybe at that first point, refine any sentence that doesn't make sense to me. Try to cut down on the word count if I've gone overboard with the entire content and all of that. And once I'm done, I just keep it aside. For me, I like to like sleep on my work, maybe leave it for a day or two, and then come back to it to actually to start like the actual editing and proofreading process. Now, again, I'm still working with my brief in mind. I read the content. I do read it in various ways. I read it silently, like in my mind. I read it out loud. I look at it broadly, you know. And while I'm reading, I'm looking for sentences that do not make sense, sentences that were overstretched, things that where I've been a bit maybe a little bit too fluffy, words that maybe that could be simpler, because you know of course all your content you should aim to keep it simple. You should use as much as maybe based off of different types of content and the writing style, you might want to use more professional words, or big grammar and stuff like that. But the rule of thumb for content writing is that as much as possible you should always ensure that your content is simple, it's easy to understand. Use the simplest words possible, so that when someone is looking through your content, they are not thinking, oh, what's the meaning of this word, unless you're actually actively trying to like use those you know big grammar and things like that. But you should always aim to keep it simple. And then I like read it, looking out for all of these things, refining my sentences, headlines, and all of that. I do that, and once I'm done, I send it over to the client or whoever it is that have assigned me that work, and then they do their own first level editing. But most times, if I follow this process, especially like with my research, with my writing, and with my proofreading and editing, most times when I send it to the clients, there's not so much back and forth, right? As to, oh, change this, or I don't like this, and all of that. But if you have not really followed this process well, you would get to see that maybe when you send in your first draft, they would most likely not be pleased with the level of quality that you've delivered. So this is like kind of like the process I take when I'm writing a content. I don't know if that throws a good light on your question.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. No, I'm learning that it's really looks very similar to the UX design process in some parts. And I never, like before, wasn't really thinking about it this way. Also, when I'm doing this course, UX writing course, it also looks similar about the research and personas and stuff like that. So that's helpful, because I used to just go straight into writing, and I would get upset that I don't have ideas and I don't know how to
Yeah.
really, take care of it. So that makes sense. And also before I was learning design, it also looked the same. So I wouldn't have ideas for my design, but I wouldn't do any research or get like any inspiration. So it was so much harder. So I understand now. Thank you.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Content writing, design process is can be similar, because most times you have to risk. You're not designing for yourself in the same way you're not writing for yourself, right? So you have to really understand what your audience need. I mean, even there's even a part of design that's called, right, UX writing, which is kind of like content writing meets design. So it's there. I'd say yes, I agree with you that there are a lot of similar processes that you need to adapt to these various contents, or let's say like career paths. So I'm just gonna drop a link. It's an Instagram reel in the chat section. I just want you to take a moment to look at it and just tell me what you think after going through it.
I'm not sure if I saw the pinned comment. Is it the top one? That this was good. Catch me if you can.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little bit of trouble like following this instruction. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because
interesting.
it's not clear or what?
No, it took me a bit. First, of course, I saw the one on the left, like on the top corner, but then
Mhm.
for hashtag, I was a bit confused at first, and then I realized, okay, that's Instagram, of course, and then I saw this, and then I wasn't really sure if which one is pinned. Yeah, but this is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think of such a marketing strategy or style?
It's interesting because it's something different.
Yeah.
Mm, but I'm not sure, like, this was good, catch me if you can, but in the end, like, maybe there could be some, like, the last comment could be, I'm not sure what is it about, or maybe this is a good explanation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so I feel like it's like you said, I totally agree. It's a very interesting strategy. But you see, what they are trying to do here is they're trying to play on human psychology because that whole sense of, oh hey, don't look at this, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to look, I want to see what's there, and then that's like what they did with the major text. Don't look at the top left corner, and then you're like, what's at the top left corner, and then your eye just goes there. Okay, first of all, it starts from the caption. It says don't look, but then you're seeing what's on the image, right? The graphics. Don't look at the top left corner. You're like, what's at the top left corner? You see, don't look at the fourth hashtag. Then you're going back to the caption, right, to click and to see the hashtag, right, what the fourth hashtag is. And the hashtag says, don't look at the pinned comment. And you're like, okay, what is the pinned comment? So you just feel like how like they're trying to use like human psychology to play on your intellect or so to say, and it's an interesting marketing strategy. It may not fly in for all types of marketing purposes, but you can definitely say that it's interesting. And one thing that is for in a space that we are today, that there are tons of content out there, there are lots of people doing different things. I think it just makes sense to kind of do something different that would captivate your audience, in as much as maybe people might interpret various things from this kind of post, right? Some people might get annoyed that, okay, why are you stressing me, right? Why do I have to go through all these processes to just see some lousy comments, if I should put it that way? Someone might actually be intrigued that, oh, for you to actually catch my fancy, um make me stop scrolling to actually focus on your content. That's a thing. So yeah, people might perceive a lot of things from this kind of strategy, but I just thought it was interesting to share, and basically to also highlight how content goes a long way in um marketing a product. For these people now, they've sold themselves, right? With they're trying to claim that if they could grab your attention in 10 seconds, imagine what you can do for your brand. So hey, reach out to me. I can work on your marketing or stuff like that. So it's a very interesting one, and I just thought to share that. Was going to Instagram a couple of days ago, and I saw that, and I felt like it was just quite interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely engaging. Like it draws the person into into that process.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we're gradually winding down to the end of the session because as an introductory one, I didn't want it to be too lengthy and just enough to help someone understand the nuances of digital marketing and content writing. So the final thing I would be talking about today um is on the elements of a good blog post, right? Now, when you're understanding blog writing, basically, what is a blog? Right? A blog is like a website or a web page, right? That is usually sorry, give me a second. I have something distracting here. Excuse me. Okay. So when it comes to like understanding blog writing, right? A blog is like a website or a web page that is regularly updated. It provides insights, stories, or information, right? In summary. Now, when you look at like what's the structure of a blog post would usually have like a title. You would have, a title, of course, is a compelling, attention grabbing headline. Now, um, for someone to want to even click on your blog post, so you've written like an article and stuff and you've shared, and I don't know you from anywhere, but for me to like want to like I'm not just going to like want to read your content because you're my friend or because I know you for so for me to like want to actually read that content, to actually say okay, maybe I enjoyed it, or even just to click it, basically something has to like attract me, just like this post, right? Most times we find ourselves scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms, right? But for something to actually make you stop and read, or maybe spend more than 5 seconds on a particular content, it has to be attractive enough. It has to grab your attention. It has to have something compelling, maybe compelling graphics or a compelling content that would make you want to stick around for longer than you would ordinarily do, right? So that's what the title would do for you, let's say in a blog post. Now, after the title, now someone sees your work, the title of your work, like, oh, this is interesting. I want to read this. And then the person clicks on it. Now you're seeing the introduction, right? But if it's not still catchy enough, the person can basically just bounce off, right? So it's going to be there's something that there's this joke or meme that we use here in Nigeria. I don't know if it's also peculiar to where you're from. I think you mentioned Poland. So there's this thing people do, what I ordered versus what I get. So it's like you see something online and it looks all beautiful from like the posts and the pictures and all of that, and you try to order it. Maybe it's like a vendor, maybe a fashion designer who like sews clothes, a tailoring work, and then you see some of their work and like, oh, I love this style, I love this fashion so much, I would like you to replicate the same thing for me. And then you go to the person, you have your measurements taken, they start working on it with the fabric and all of that. And then at the end of the day, when you go to pick up your dress or something like that, you see that it's totally different from what you had originally wanted. The style or the way the person sewed it, it's just like that's all what I ordered versus what I got, right? So in the same way, that can also happen in writing. for example, in a blog post. So it's like you see a very nice looking, compelling, attention grabbing title, and then you click on it. But then you start reading the introduction and like, what is this? This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I was looking forward to when I clicked on that topic or that title. So just like your title was intriguing, in the same way your introduction has to also be able to hook the reader, right? Because you're introducing the topic, you're explaining why it matters, you're explaining why should I as a reader stick around for more, why should I basically want to read further and just continue with spend more time on that content. I mean, time is a valuable resource. So for me to want to read more, then there should be something really, really intriguing about your introduction. And after the introduction comes the body of the content, right? So this is the main content where you've gone past the title, you've gone past the introduction. Now you're basically trying to go deeper into what that content is about, like elaborating on what the topic is about, right? And of course it's in the body of the content that you get to break. You add the main content, you can break the entire work into sections, like with your subheadings, with your bullet points, with your numbered lists, and all of that, right? All in the bid to actually elaborate more on that topic that you're writing about, right? So once you have your body set out completely, then you go into the conclusion. Of course, the conclusion is like summarizing your key points, and of course including a call to action. Remember what I've been saying about having a persona, having a reason in mind, and because you don't just write because you want to jumble up a couple of words together. You always have a purpose for writing, whether it's to sell a product, whether it's just to create awareness, whether it's just for educative purposes. There's always a purpose for a piece of writing, for a blog, or for whatever. So it's in your concluding bit that you get to summarize what it is you've written, summarize your entire body, and then include that call to action if you're trying to sell a product, if you're trying to maybe have people join a community and things like that. All of that comes towards the end, which can be categorized as the concluding bits. All right, so this is just like a structure for a blog post, right? Writing a blog, or even writing a blog basically, or an article on the um as a general overview. To go deeper would be to maybe talk about how you can choose like a relevant topic, how you can basically conduct proper research, your writing style, whether you're writing in a simple tone, in a conversational tone, avoiding long sentences and things like that, your headlines, SEO and all of that. That would mean to delve deeper into it. But just on a broad level, this is what the structure of a blog post should look like, right? You should have a good title, the introduction should be engaging, the body should be good, as well as the conclusion, right? You don't want to just leave write up an article and then it's just there, right? At the end of the day, I'm thinking, okay, what do I do with this, right? Where does that lead me, right? So your blog post, your article should um definitely embody all of these structures, these various parts that make up a holistic blog post. Now, let's just try. I have a few examples here that I want you to look at and just get your opinion about it. I'm going to paste it in the chat section as well. Oops. Oh, okay. So, give me oh, okay. I'm just trying to type out these examples in the chat section. Okay, so from these so these are like examples of some blog post titles, right? So if I should ask you from these examples, which of them would you click and why? So if you saw all of these examples as a blog post or an article, right? Which one would you click on and why?
Yeah, I think first and third, because they're kind of promising you some shortcut, you know. So you
Mhm.
don't really have to put much effort. You will read it and come out, you know, different person. So I think this first and third one.
The first and the third, right? Of you say fourth?
Third, one,
Okay.
three. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I those would be my picks as well. I mean, I think I should have written 2025 here rather than 2024. Yeah, so number one, of course, is like, oh, 10 easy ways to start a business in 2025. Because I'm thinking, okay, the year is basically hasn't gone so far. We're like in okay, we're entering the third month, but still, if you wanted to like hit those big goals, up your financials and all of that, you might be thinking of what new catchy business would you want to start. So of course, it's the like you said, the title promises you something, and it's like kind of piques your curiosity a bit. So it's like, okay, yes, I should definitely click on that. And of course, the third one, the secret strategy nobody told you about in digital marketing. Like, okay, yeah, that one seems interesting. So, but when you're saying something like, "Oh, read this now," it's like, no, I will not. Right? The what do I call it? Well, I say the rogue in me is like, oh, why are you trying to make me read your content by force? No, I'm not going to do that. So no, right? And then for number four, it's like marketing tips. What do I do with that? Like, okay, marketing tips, what next? So those are not, they are not engaging enough to want to make you click on the title, in as much as maybe what they might have, the content might be brilliant, it might be, a very beautifully written and all of that. But of course, if the title is not catchy enough, you might not want to click on it, right? So these are like this is a very good importance of why having a clear, specific, and intriguing blog title would go a long way in helping you um, helping your content stand out. And in the same way, this can also be likened to captions as well on social media, because you're like sometimes you're scrolling to social media and like you come across a post and of course maybe your eye might catch the graphics first or the picture, and you're like, what inspired this? And you look at the caption, right? So your caption should maybe want to inspire the person, the audience, to actually maybe click that link in your bio to take an action, to sign up, or just to do something, right? So captions can somehow be likened to a blog title because they would prompt the individual to actually do something, maybe read your content further, to take an action on the content or something like that. So yeah, this is something, these are just what I want to leave you with today. I want to you know leave you with this as someone who is actively looking to maybe whether actively or not, you're looking to improve your writing, right? So if you were to, let's say, write a content today, for example, a blog or an article, what's like a topic that you would have in mind? And try to like see how you can build some subheadings around it. It's just a little activity you can try to see how far your creativity would get you. If you were to write a blog, what's a topic that you would write on, and what are some subheadings that you would have? So I want you to take like a reverse process on this one. So rather than actually following the like I said, maybe an actual writing process where you have to um, maybe if you're thinking about something to write on because you want to achieve a purpose with that content, and then you're doing your research and all of those things. So before you even get into the research bit, just think of a topic, try to see how you can form like an outline on your own, and then you go on to do the research and then see how it compares to like what you've done um originally. So it's just a way to see like what you're able to come up with on your own without research, without leveraging like any AI tool, just having fun with your writing. So that's something I want to leave you with today, that you should go on to try and see you know the kind of insights you get from that, like especially when you're comparing what the outline that you've built out along with your topic with what you're seeing maybe online, or when you started doing your research on that topic. So yeah, that's something I'm going to leave you with today. And I do hope that this session has been insightful, talking about various nuances around digital marketing, content writing. Just let me know if you have any questions so far. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joy, for this session. It was definitely helpful for me, and I will for sure use your insights about the process in my process. No, I don't have any more questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Claudia. This has been great, and I do hope that you, along with your design, take your writing a bit more seriously, put out some work, and I'll be happy to read some of those if you just start writing actively.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Claudia.
Have a
To
nice
have Yeah, have a wonderful day ahead.
Bye bye.
Bye.